Lockhart Perspective.
Madam VP, I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they're not like us.
They not.
Okay, I don't really need any more of anybody else's commentary as it relates to the comments that was just put there. But for whatever reason, they are really pushing this Black woman thing where Vice President Kamala Harris is concerned. I'm going to say it until I can't say it anymore. Her mother, her caste in India is white. Her mother stated on Kamala's birth certificate that she was white. Kamala's father is from Jamaica. He is the red tone Jamaican. It doesn't matter what skin tone he is. None of these people are like us, and none of these individuals are, quote unquote, what the United States Census would consider Black. Indians, when they come to the United States, by virtue of our census, are considered white. Both of her parents are listed as white. She is not like us. And for her to sit there with Taraji P. Henson and pretend as if she's some Black woman who at her age would actually say, not having had our culture, I'm out here in these streets. She doesn't have our culture. I could say that all day long. And as a matter of fact, I do. As a matter of fact, one of my banners says it. But she's not in the streets. She doesn't know what's really going on in our culture. Where's she getting it from? Not only that, now they are saying that Kamala Harris's team has decided that they want her to have a white running mate. That's what it says. So let's get into that, shall we? Allies of Kamala Harris are discussing the selection of a white man as her vice president as support for her taking over the party's presidential candidate grows. Names like Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky and North Carolina's Roy Cooper have been suggested, as the fallout from Joe Biden's disastrous debate performance shows no sign of abating. As well, on Thursday, President Biden provoked fresh concern by saying that he was something to the effect, because this is not the actual quote, he was the first Black woman to serve as the vice president with a Black president. That's what he actually said, and it was on a radio interview. He also made a confusing reference to there no longer being any traffic on the highways at an event celebrating the 4th of July national holiday. A document reportedly written by unnamed senior operatives within the Democratic political institutions has been circulating in Washington, according to CNN. The title, Unburdened by What Has Been, The Case for Kamala. It lays out the case for Vice President Harris stepping into the breach. And there is one path, it says, out of this mess, and it's Kamala. Kamala Harris has the strongest claim to the Democratic legitimacy, it says. It continues with, she is the only candidate who can take the reins right now instead of in late August with less than 3 months left to go, closed quote. The influential Black Democratic Congressman Jim Clyburn has said that he would back Harris if Mr. Biden were to stand down. Harris donors and backers of her nomination were reported to already be discussing potential vice president picks. The conversations were, quote, based on the usual notion that the country's prospective first Black woman president would likely lean toward a white guy governor, according to New York Magazine's report. Besides Mr. Cooper and Mr. Beshear, Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania was also suggested. Mr. Beshear, 46, came to national recognition when he led Kentucky's response to catastrophic flooding in 2021. He is popular in a state that has sent 2 Republicans to the Senate. Like Mr. Beshear, Mr. Cooper has won the power in a traditional red state and is seen as a moderate. That's what he says here. It says here that he is seen as a moderate without the kind of political baggage that could make him vulnerable. Mr. Shapiro, 51, leads one of the pivotal states in November's election. He forged his reputation as Pennsylvania's Attorney General when he orchestrated a $1 billion settlement with drug companies to pay for the opioid epidemic. A strong supporter of Israel, he has pointedly showed up at Goldie's, a kosher restaurant, which was facing calls for a boycott from pro-Palestinian protesters. That just means to me that he runs after opportunity to be seen with a camera, but nonetheless, let's continue. Ms. Harris's term as vice president has not been seen as a resounding success, with her poll ratings often worse than those of Mr. Biden. High tax, crime-ridden state. But a recent poll showed that she would fare better than potential rivals against Donald Trump, although she too lags behind the former president. California's governor, Gavin Newsom, touted as one potential replacement, has been running what many described as a shadow campaign while publicly proclaiming his loyalty to Mr. Biden. But California's reputation as a high-tax, crime-ridden state would make him vulnerable to Republican attacks. Ms. Harris has one key advantage, according to this article, over potential rivals, and that she would have access to the $240 million war chest that the Biden campaign has amassed. Rivals would have to start a fundraising from scratch amid the wrangling, that's what this is, amid wrangling over what to do with those funds. It is believed, that she would poll well among women voters, with abortion emerging as a key election issue in November. Vice President Harris would also reverse the narrative on age, given that she is 19 years younger than Trump. She's outpolling Trump among independents and moderates, according to CNN. Quote, traditionally, running mates are picked with an eye toward offsetting the nominee's weak spots and unifying the party after a nomination battle. Closed quote. This comes from Christopher Galdieri, the professor of politics at St. Anselm College in New Hampshire. And this is what he said to The Telegraph. Quote, should Kamala Harris become the Democratic nominee, she'd do after 4 years as the vice president and 4 years in the Senate, with an eye toward likely attacks from Trump as being a secret radical. Quote, she would also want to boost her chances in the crucial states of Pennsylvania, as well as Michigan and Wisconsin. He continues with, I would expect her to pick a white moderate who would be reassuring to those voters, much as Barack Obama did by picking Biden all those years ago, closed quote. The Trump team is sharpening attacks on Ms. Harris, with the former president calling her laughing Kamala Harris and cackling co-pilot Kamala Harris. Well, there she is. And I just don't understand why we're steadily holding on to that falsehood and why no one is calling them out on it. I've heard people say, especially after most people started saying, oh, well, she's the first Indian, from India, vice president. But this re-emerging of her pandering to Black people the same way that Biden has done should be considered, I don't know, people should really honestly be offended by that in and of itself. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. Excuse me. And so what we're going to do right now is just close it on out. But I want you guys to let me know down below in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that this is just a nice little distraction because maybe it is somebody else? Or do you think that by having her as the candidate and then following up with them using, a way to push him out of the way and put her in, do you think that this would be a way for, say, for example, another president from the past? He just wanted to, have his way with the decisions that were going to be made. Do you think it would be easier for them to put themselves out there, put her as the front runner, and then they could be pulling the strings from behind? Oh, come on, you guys, you know what I'm trying to say. Do you think that if the last president or the existing president right now has not been the one that's pulling the strings, that all they need to do is put her in place so this same person could have, 12 years? Wouldn't it be 12 or 14 years? Let's see, 4, 8, 12. It's been 12. Then it'll be 16 years. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. This is a real big mess. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. And don't forget to get some of this good old barbecue sauce. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.